The hidden switch that makes women obsess is not looks or money. Zeno of Citium said, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." Why do some men seem to drive women wild without trying? Why do they leave a lasting impression? Not because of what they say, but because of how they carry themselves. Here's a brutal truth no one wants to say out loud. Attraction isn't logical. It's emotional. And the more emotionally grounded a man is, the more chaotic a woman will feel around him in the best way possible. But that's the secret. Most men try to impress with noise. The Stoic man impresses with stillness. He doesn't chase, he leads. He doesn't beg, he allows. He doesn't react, he observes. And this alone creates a kind of psychological storm inside a woman. She doesn't understand why she's thinking about him, why she checks her phone, why her usual games don't work. But she feels it. This video reveals the 9 male attitudes rooted in Stoic wisdom that make a woman not only attracted, but obsessed. And no, these aren't pickup tricks, gimmicks, or alpha posturing. These are inner frameworks, shaped through self-discipline, emotional control, and a refusal to be swayed by external noise. You'll discover the attitude that turns rejection into power. Why silence makes you more irresistible than compliments. How emotional restraint triggers deep curiosity in her mind. And why women always remember the man they couldn't move emotionally. If you want to become that man, the one who doesn't chase but is chased, then watch this video till the end. Because in a world full of simps, signals, and short-term games, the Stoic man stands out like a lion in a zoo. Let's begin. Number 1, silent confidence, when your presence says it all. In a noisy world, the quietest man often holds the most power. Women aren't obsessed with loud gestures. They're drawn what they can't figure out. And nothing is harder to decode than a man who's confident in silence. This isn't the kind of fake calm where a man suppresses everything just to seem cool. This is real confidence, the kind forged through hardship, built in solitude, and stabilized by Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." A Stoic man doesn't need to announce who he is. His stillness, his gaze, his posture, they all speak louder than words. And women, they notice, they lean in, they wonder, why isn't he trying to impress me? That one question, it's where obsession begins. You see, most men are performative. They enter a room trying to be seen. But the high-value man, he enters a room to observe. He listens more than he talks. He chooses his words like a surgeon wields a scalpel, not a machine gun. This restraint creates a vacuum. Women fill that vacuum with curiosity, with fantasy, with fascination. Why? Because nature wired women to seek certainty through emotion. When they encounter a man they can't read, can't shake, can't make react, they feel an emotional imbalance. And that imbalance creates intrigue. They don't obsess over the man who's always available, always complimenting, always texting back. They obsess over the man who makes them feel uncertain, but safe, unpredictable, but grounded, present, but untouchable. That man becomes a puzzle they can't stop trying to solve. And what's the first step to becoming that man? Silence. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of power. Be the man who doesn't need to fill space with noise. Be the man whose calm creates chaos in her mind. Be the man whose presence whispers, "I don't chase, I attract." Number 2, emotional unavailability. Not a game, but a standard. Most men confuse emotional unavailability with manipulation. They try to fake detachment in hopes of appearing mysterious. But women can sense inauthenticity faster than words escape your mouth. What truly captivates a woman isn't the man who withholds emotion to gain power. It's the man whose emotional world is not up for public access. Epictetus said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." When a Stoic man withholds emotional reactions, it's not because he's playing games. It's because he's protecting his inner kingdom. He knows that his time, his presence, his energy, and yes, even his emotions are not for everyone. This makes him untouchable. In today's world, women are bombarded with emotional validation from hundreds of directions: likes, texts, followers, simps, and strangers. But when she meets a man who doesn't offer himself up emotionally on a silver platter, it short-circuits her expectations. She's used to men opening up too quickly, oversharing, becoming emotionally available within hours. She's not used to a man who takes his emotional availability seriously, who views it as sacred, not casual. The result? She becomes obsessed with earning it. But here's the twist. The Stoic man never gives that access just because she wants it. He gives it only when she's proven to be trustworthy, consistent, and aligned with his values. This is not cruelty. This is control. He doesn't need emotional intimacy from every interaction. His cup is already full. He's not running around looking for validation or affection. He's a fortress, not a vending machine. And this is why women crave him. They don't want a man they can get immediately. They want a man they have to work for emotionally, a man whose love is earned, not handed over. So don't fake detachment. Become the man who doesn't spill his emotions recklessly. Become the man who feels deeply, but shows selectively. Become the man whose emotional restraint drives are wild. Not because he's cold, but because he's in full command. Number 3, unbothered by rejection. Turning no into power. There's a silent panic that consumes most men when they sense rejection. A change in tone, a delayed reply, a canceled plan. Suddenly, their confidence collapses like a house of cards. But Stoicism trains you to see rejection not as loss, but as liberation. Epictetus said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." What makes women obsess over a man isn't just his ability to attract them. It's his resilience when they push him away. When she tests him with silence, games, or distance, most men chase harder. They text longer paragraphs. They over-explain. They beg, emotionally or literally. But the Stoic man, he doesn't flinch. He sees rejection as redirection. If a woman says no to his presence, he says yes to his purpose. His identity isn't shaken by her approval or denial. And this indifference is a magnet. Why? Because rejection isn't always real. Sometimes it's a test, a way to measure how deeply you need her validation. And when you don't, when you lean back, stay composed, and carry on with a life full of meaning, she starts questioning herself instead of you. What if he doesn't care? Why is he not affected? Did I misjudge his interest or his worth? That internal chaos creates obsession. But here's what's even more powerful. The Stoic man doesn't fake indifference. He lives it. He's built a life so fulfilling, physically, emotionally, and mentally, that one person's rejection doesn't ripple through his system. It barely registers. He's not cold. He's focused. He doesn't try to control outcomes. He only controls his response. And that, ironically, is what flips the script. The woman who expected power over him now feels powerless to explain why he haunts her thoughts. So next time you're rejected, don't react. Rise. Let your silence echo louder than her games. Let your peace become her question mark. And let your focus turn a temporary no into long-term mystery. Number 4, the power of disinterest. Why she can't stand being ignored. Have you ever noticed how people are drawn to what ignores them? That which turns away seems more powerful than that which chases. And when a man learns to master disinterest, he becomes emotionally untouchable. Elizabeth Kenny said, "He who angers you conquers you." But in this case, let's reframe. She who commands your attention, controls your energy. Most women are used to being the center of male attention. Compliments flood her inbox. Eyes follow her everywhere. Validation is the air she breathes. And so, when one man doesn't play along, when one man seems unimpressed, when he listens but doesn't lean in, when he looks but doesn't crave, it rattles her. This isn't about being rude or disrespectful. It's about not giving power away. Disinterest doesn't mean you don't find her beautiful. It means you don't need her beauty to feel worthy. And that shakes her, because if you don't need her to feel valuable, she has to wonder, what gives this man his value? That's where obsession begins. Modern Stoic masculinity is not about withdrawal. It's about centeredness. You aren't cold, you're calm. You're not rejecting her. You're reflecting her energy back to her. If she offers warmth, you return it. If she plays games, you walk away from the board. Not because you're afraid to lose, but because you never play games to begin with. The moment you stop reacting to attention, especially the kind that comes with hidden motives, you become enigmatic, mysterious, rare, powerful. Women don't chase desperate men. They chase those who show up like they've already won. And that mindset, it's rooted in Stoic detachment. The Stoic doesn't seek to be desired. He seeks to master himself. And that self-mastery makes her feel something deeper than attraction. It creates a pull, one she can't easily define, one she can't ignore. So next time a beautiful woman enters the room, don't chase her. Let your focus, purpose, and grounded presence do the speaking. And when she can't get your attention, she'll give you hers. Number 5, emotional availability is not the same as emotional obedience. Modern dating advice loves to throw around the phrase, be emotionally available. And yes, there is wisdom in being emotionally present, aware, and open when necessary. But here's the lie that's rarely spoken. Emotional availability doesn't mean emotional obedience. And yet, most men confuse the two. They think being a good partner means always saying yes, always being agreeable, always softening their tone, and always apologizing for her emotional reactions, even when they did nothing wrong. This is the fast lane to resentment, weakness, and invisibility. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." The Stoic man is emotionally available, but only on his terms. He shares his feelings when they serve truth, not manipulation. He listens with empathy, but not submission. He comforts, but never becomes a slave to emotional blackmail. Women test boundaries through emotion. It's not evil, it's instinct. When she gets upset, she wants to know, will this man fold, panic, chase, or stay rooted? She wants to feel your strength when she can't feel hers. If every tear makes you dance, if every mood shift makes you abandon your core, she may get temporary power, but she loses long-term respect. The Stoic understand this game. He does not ignore emotion, but neither does he serve it blindly. He asks, is this real pain or manipulation? Am I reacting to drama or responding with grounded clarity? Am I making decisions from fear of losing her or from strength in leading us both? This difference is everything. A man who is emotionally obedient becomes a pleaser, and pleasers are forgettable. A man who is emotionally attuned but sovereign is unforgettable. Remember, you are not her emotional servant. You are her emotional lighthouse. You don't chase the storms. You guide through them. She may resist your groundedness in the moment, but secretly, she'll respect it more than any poem, any compliment, any gift. In a world where men crumble under emotional pressure, the Stoic stands. Calm, strong, still, and that stillness, that is the power that makes her want to stay. Number 6, when she pulls away, pull into purpose. One of the most common games women unconsciously play is the pullback. You've been talking regularly. She seems invested, and suddenly, her energy shifts. She takes longer to reply. She becomes colder. She talks about needing space. Most men panic. They rush to close the gap. They double text. They over-explain. They plead or apologize, even when nothing went wrong. But here's the Stoic truth. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Her pulling away is not the threat. Your reaction to her pulling away is. This is the moment that separates average men from grounded men. A woman pulling back doesn't always mean she's losing interest. Sometimes it's a subconscious test to see, will you collapse into neediness or stay rooted in purpose? The Stoic doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't question his worth. Instead, he sees the pullback as a signal. Time to return to mission. He pulls into his purpose. He sharpens his craft. He trains his body. He builds something real outside of validation, because that's what attracts her back. Not the panic, but the presence. Not the apology, but the aura of a man who doesn't crumble. Modern men think attention is the currency of attraction, but for high-value women, the real currency is purpose. When you detach from her emotional rhythm and anchor yourself to your own goals, you become the kind of man who doesn't need reassurance, because he is reassurance. Let her pull back. Let her question. You stay building. Because a man rooted in purpose never loses a woman. He only filters who's worthy to walk beside him. This isn't coldness. It's composure. And the paradox? When you stop chasing, you become magnetic. So the next time she goes distant, don't chase her. Chase your greatness. Number 7, selective availability. The secret weapon of high-value men. One of the most underestimated yet powerful tools in a high-value man's arsenal is selective availability. It's subtle, it's psychological, and it drives women wild with curiosity, attraction, and even obsession. But let's expose the manipulation first. A common female game? Demanding constant access. She wants instant replies. She wants to know where you are, what you're doing, and who you're with. She might say, "If you cared, you'd talk to me more," or "You never have time for me." Translation? She's trying to see if she can command your focus at will. The average man hears that and folds. He drops what he's doing. He proves himself. He becomes immediately accessible. But here's what he doesn't realize. Overavailability destroys attraction. The more predictable and emotionally available you become, the less mystery you project. The less mystery you project, the less desire she feels. Now contrast this with the Stoic man. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Bravery in this context means freedom from emotional slavery. A Stoic man is brave enough to be absent, not because he plays games, but because he's genuinely occupied with a life bigger than her validation. He's building, he's reflecting, he's growing. He's not always available, not because he's ignoring her, but because he's focused. This selective availability is magnetic. When she knows you're not always a tap away, she values your time. When she sees that your attention is earned, not given, she respects your presence. When you're not reactive, you become irresistibly rare. And what's rare becomes valuable. This doesn't mean being cold. It means being deliberate. It means responding with intention, not instantly. Creating space for her to miss you. Making her wonder what kind of man doesn't need constant reassurance. Women aren't obsessed with men who are always around. They're obsessed with men who show up like lightning, intense, brilliant, and on their terms. So be the storm she anticipates, not the rain she expects. If you want respect, stop being so available. Be present, not permanent. Be engaged, not enslaved. Be a man she can't quite figure out, and she'll never stop trying. Number 8, emotional mastery, the silent dominance she can't resist. Let's expose one of the most dangerous manipulation games women often play: emotional chaos. She'll throw emotional curveballs, sudden accusations, mood swings, dramatic silences, or tears without explanation. Not always with bad intent, but often to test your emotional center. She wants to know, can this man be shaken? Can I control his mood with mine? Is he emotionally reactive or emotionally grounded? Most men fail. They get agitated. They argue. They defend themselves. They beg. They try to fix what was never broken. And just like that, they lose frame. Now enter the Stoic man. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That Stoic power, the power to remain unmoved by storms that are not yours to own. A Stoic doesn't get caught in emotional traps. He observes the drama, but does not dance in it. He listens, but does not mirror unnecessary emotion. He knows calmness is control, silence is power. Indifference is sometimes the greatest weapon. And this is exactly what women crave but rarely experience. A man who feels deeply but reacts slowly. A man who doesn't flinch when emotional temperature rises. When you maintain emotional mastery, something primal happens in her mind. She feels safe, fascinated, and even challenged. Why? Because your inner peace is impossible to manipulate. You're no longer reacting like every man she's met. You're operating on a higher plane, and now she feels she must rise to meet you, not pull you down to her storm. Here's what emotional mastery looks like in action. When she's angry, you remain calm. When she's testing you with silence, you wait it out. When she cries without cause, you comfort, but you don't crumble. You lead with stability. You respond with clarity. You don't let temporary emotions dictate permanent behavior. And that makes you magnetic. Men who can't control their emotions are controlled by women. Men who master their emotions, they control the game. So when a woman throws emotional chaos your way, don't panic. Breathe, observe, smile inwardly, because your silence is speaking louder than her storm. Number 9, purpose over women, the irresistible energy shift. One of the most seductive games women play, knowingly or unknowingly, is a test of where your attention truly lies. She'll flirt, withdraw, seek your validation, or challenge your focus, all in an attempt to answer one question: am I the center of his world? And when your answer, whether through words or behavior, is yes, something shifts. Attraction dies. Because women don't want to be your purpose. They want to witness your purpose. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is one of the most powerful principles of Stoicism, and the final attitude that makes a man utterly irresistible. Unshakable devotion to purpose. High value. Stoic men do not orbit around women. They orbit around mission, discipline, vision, and values. And the deeper that orbit, the stronger their gravitational pull. Women are drawn to men who are already moving fast, focused, and forward. She doesn't want to be your goal. She wants to join you on the journey. When you put women before your purpose, you become needy. You adjust to her frame. You sacrifice your growth for her comfort. You start to lose the very traits that made her interested in the first place. But when you put your purpose first, you inspire her respect. You challenge her emotionally. You create space for her to pursue and admire you. She feels it in your absence when you're building. She sees it in your eyes when you're focused. She hears it in your voice when you speak with direction and power. Purpose is the invisible cologne women can't resist. It communicates. You are not waiting for her. You are not afraid to lose her. You are not here to be chosen. You are the chooser. This doesn't mean you become cold, dismissive, or emotionally unavailable. It means that no woman, no matter how beautiful, comes before your mission, because a man who has no mission is vulnerable to any distraction. But a man with a mission, he's an unstoppable force. And the paradox? The moment you stop chasing women and start chasing purpose, women chase you. They want to be around your fire, but only if you're already burning with direction. So take your eyes off the games. Turn inward. Get clear. Move with speed. Lie with discipline. Build the thing that no woman can give you, a life you deeply respect. And when you do, you'll never wonder why women are obsessed with you. You'll know. Final Stoic advice. If you've made it this far, you're not here just for tactics. You're here for transformation. You don't want to play the game. You want to rise above it. The Stoic path isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery. Mastery of self. Mastery of mind. Mastery of emotion. And ultimately, mastery of life. Remember the 9 masculine attitudes you've just learned. 1. The calm frame. 2. Silent mystery. 3. Purposeful absence. 4. Challenge without need. 5. Indifference to approval. 6. Self-Sufficiency. 7. Selective Availability. 8. Emotional mastery. 9. Purpose over women. These aren't tricks. They're traits. These aren't tactics. They're a way of life. So if you're ready to stop being confused, reactive, and emotionally manipulated, and become the grounded, unshakable man women can't help but desire, subscribe to Stoic Desire now. Because every week, we don't just talk Stoicism, we live it. We build strong minds. We lead our lives. We sharpen our masculinity with discipline, clarity, and ancient wisdom. This is not a channel for the average man. This is a forge. And you, brother, are becoming fire. Welcome to Stoic Desire.